you're not just a coach just by accident. I mean, you are one of the first basketball players, at least a women basketball player, to become a FIBA level 2 coach. Is that it?
From
Certified coach. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's so much you've done. You've gone to Istanbul for a coaching clinic for affiliated with Turkish Basketball Federation. You were in San Antonio training children for an NBA team, you know. I mean, you have gone through the ranks. You've been an athlete. You have gone on to become a coach. You're mentoring kids. There's so much that you've done. But somewhere you get the feeling there's more that can be done with the coaches, you know. Why is that? Is that feeling unfounded, or do you think that really is an issue? Right now, even if I'm a coach, for example, if I'm a coach, what are the avenues for me to go and upskill myself to be on par with the best in the world? So, does he or she have that opportunity, or is it still lacking? Or are the coaches just not interested? Are they just looking at, let me just make a few quick bucks over the weekend and just, it doesn't matter?
Yes, I think Ram, you pretty much answered my question right there to an extent. First of all, if anyone decides to be a coach, then they have to realize that holding that whistle is just not blowing a whistle, or it is just not a 2-hour activity. It is one of the most powerful and responsible job, for the simple reason you just don't know what great thing can come out of it and what you can create and what you can disrupt as well. So one needs to understand that when they come to that level of holding a whistle or being a coach, they have to have 2 things in mind. One is they need to have this great desire to continually learning. They should never stop learning, or never be with the mindset that I'm done, I know everything. And they have to be, there should be a deep hunger for knowledge, to improvise, to better yourself. So this is very crucial for a coach. And the second thing is, I speak more from the Indian perspective, because we are so emotionally involved.
Yes.
We take everything personally. And we need to learn to draw the line between personal and professional. If there is anything that the kid is doing beyond the court, but if it's not affecting their performance on court, then you should know that where to draw the line, and you should not transfer if there's any misunderstandings, or if there's any things that you don't like about, because everybody has different personalities. Everybody comes with a different approach. Everybody doesn't have the same mindset, or in today's kids, their attitude is slightly different. But so I often get asked by other coaches that, they come with so much attitude, they have no respect, and how do you deal with it? I said, see, respect is something we can't ask them. We have to command it, number one. Number 2 is never take our personal egos or issues with them on the court.
Yes.
If I don't like you, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're still performing, I will give you what you deserve. And as a coach, what I need to impart to you, I will impart. As a coach, if I need to recommend your name for something, I will do it. But I will not take that off the court behavior onto the on-court behavior. This is where I feel most Indian coaches need to learn to disconnect between personal and professional. We tend to merge both of them, because of which we see a lot of things getting messed up and spilling onto the court, and because of which a lot of youngsters back off, because they're restless. Today's youngsters want instant gratification, so they want support. If it's not like, dude, if you're not doing this, I'm out of it. So they may go, and it may just satisfy your ego for a moment. But if you look at it from a larger perspective, we lost one talent that could have been something. So did I waste that by just trying to merge or bring my personal things into it?
Yes.
So if we can try to set up this kind of mindset, then you are ready to hold the whistle. And you're able to go on with these 2 pointers, you can make a good start. And yes, traveling out, looking at, observing, and being part of all these training programs for the coaches, and having the experience of coaching all across different, places and different cultures,
Yeah.
Give me a great understanding of the difference. What I see between out and us is, at this point, we are yet to, we have this chalta hai attitude.
Yes.
We should not, especially in Bangalore, in Karnataka, this is very, very prevalent that we say, "Solpa adjust makari, it's okay.
Yes.
Not there, just adjust."
Yeah.
We should, why compromise? When you have to aspire for excellence,
Yeah.
you cannot reach excellence by adjusting.
Yes.
You cannot
Absolutely.
reach excellence by compromising. So
Yeah.
you have to have the best infrastructure. So as a coach, first of all, gain your own confidence. They have to have confidence. They have to have self-respect. Most coaches struggle to get that confidence themselves. So when you are struggling, when your vessel is empty, how are you going to serve the others?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they need to build their own personality. They need to build their own confidence. And this comes from exposure, from a desire to learn and to be open to learning, even though you're a coach. So when
Yes.
you're learning, you're growing. When you're growing, you have knowledge. When you have the knowledge, you have the confidence. When you have the confidence, you command the respect. So it's
Absolutely.
all interlinked to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, yes, coaches need to make that growth. Wherever they have that opportunity, they have to go and learn. Be hungry for it. No matter, even if it's great, you're teaching at the elite level, but it's always good to revisit the basic level every now and then, because you will get the hang of what's happening, what is new, what is the new thing that's coming in, and what is it that you can be innovative with. Now we are at a stage where we're yet to learn what has already been discovered, which is already being used, which is
Yes.
proven success programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then comes innovation. So we're far from innovation.
Absolutely.
But not to say that our coaches aren't, because when we didn't have the infrastructure, it was our innovations that brought us to this level.
Absolutely.
What we are
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah.
But if we can structure everything, and
Yeah.
we can become a complete powerhouse. That's where the coaches need to look for opportunities. You rightly touched on one point, Ram, that today coaches are anybody with a pair of hands and legs is a coach.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
sad. So this is where I believe the government, the sports department of youth services within the state, and the federations and the concerned authorities should come in, where you have to structure it. Now, if I just today wake up and say, Ram, I feel like doing a surgery, will you just let me into an operation theater and give me a patient?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Then how are you giving me a kid in my hand without me having any experience or without any certification?
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
You may be killing the person in the operation theater practically, but
Yes.
here you've killed.
Yeah.
You have the potential to
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody for life,
Yes.
emotionally, passionately, or you could kill someone's dream.
Yeah.
So, which is why it is important to know that they are accountable and they are deserving. They attain certain level of knowledge and they're graded. So why? This is where the government, in collaboration with the federations, can introduce, which some federations have done it, some are on the way to do it, and some are yet to wake up from the coma. But if they can collaborate and come up with a structure where they can say anybody in so-and-so state, irrespective whether private or public, needs to be training, then you need to be certified. You need to go through this course. And XYZ, put up these structures. Now, once you then create a database, based on their levels, create the grades. And based on that, fix their salary slab. So that they're not, because not every coach is a good negotiator when he goes to seek a job. So if he commands that, at least he will ensure that he has the basic before he commands what he deserves.
Absolutely.
So it's taken care of, because, like I said, we're still in that transition phase.
Absolutely.
Where we have to partly speak up for them and support them and guide those coaches and give them that knowledge and make them accountable. That is one part. And next goes to the organizations or the academies or the institutions, the schools. Know whom you're hiring. Just PT teachers and PE periods are just the film in the moment.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
You have 2 legs, 2 hands, come. I give you.
Totally.
And what happens is they don't realize this is where the biggest damage happens.
Yes.
Because the first point of contact for a child to fall in love with the sport
Yes.
is your teacher. Because how they are presenting the game to you, how are they opening up and unwrapping this powerful, beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. And he says, hey, you want to play, you can play, otherwise you can do the shit. I don't care.
There, you either make it or you break it right there, isn't it?
Right there.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
lost a lot right there
Yeah.
itself. So the institutions are responsible when they start questioning and saying, we will give you the job, we will give you this salary, what you deserve, but you have to ensure that you are, it's difficult for education institutions to know what their levels are.
Yes.
So this is where the federations and the government should have a collaboration to make that, because the technical know-how is with the federations. So if they do these kind of certified programs, then you have some structure, some organized way, and ensure that the quality control is maintained.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't have any quality. And if
Absolutely.
you don't have quality, then you're only swimming in quantity. You don't, and we all know quality and quantity never go in hand. So then we're losing out a lot of talent at the base itself.
Yep.
And the academies as well. Ensure that the coaches that you're appointing have a good background. They're accountable for it. When you become a little more strict, then they will wake up out of their laziness to go and get themselves educated and certified and knowledgeable so that they can add value to your program. Because most often coaches, the first thing, like you very rightly said, they only come as a time pass, as a part-time, or it's my pocket money, or I don't care, I just want some extra money, so I'm just doing this.
Yes.
Which is okay to some level if you're using them as volunteers or a second hand.
Right.
But in the large run, I'm not a big advocate for that in the large run.
If you're taking it as a professional career, then they must be doing more of that.
It does a lot more damage, not only to the kids, but to the entire structure, and in the larger sense to the whole country as well. Because everything is getting washed out at the base level itself. So it's very, very important that these coaches are professionals. They prove their worthiness. And when the coach comes, he or she must make sure that what value did I bring to this place? And how much did I change since the time I came here? What did I improvise? And then look at it from that point. Then you command what you command. But, coming up and saying somebody else is paying me this much, you pay me this much. I don't mind paying you this much. Bring the same value. That person is bringing it to that place.
Yes.
Argument. It's like, just because everybody passes out of an MBA course
doesn't mean
command a 1 crore salary.
Absolutely. Yes.
But if you're coming from IM, there is a difference in, your level of knowledge, involvement, commitment, seriousness, and stuff like that. But again, if all who come out of IM, do they all command it? Not necessarily. Again, it's individualistic. How much knowledge they have, how much exposure they have, what is their capacity to, are they problem solving, or are they problem creating? What kind of mindset do they come with? So it's a similar thing to the coaches as well. So if coach is like a machine in the factory. The machine has a defect. Every product that comes out of it is
going to be defective. Yes.
And then it'll be reject piece, and then you have it factory sale.
Yes.
So
I mean, they're such they're one of the major stakeholders, isn't it? With the parent,
right.
One of the biggest stakeholders in this whole game. So very interesting. You spoke about them, being how you can be innovative and stuff. I was listening to one of these videos where Kobe Bryant was recently talking. Recently, I saw the video recently. He was apparently training children, his daughters, and some of the friends. So talking about innovation, I believe he used to make these kids get on a court and just imagine. I mean, there's no opponent. They're just imagining that there is an opponent, and they are imagining what the other person is doing. So basically, this child is on the court, doing stuff all alone, but in his head or her head, she's thinking that she has an opponent, and she is moving based on what she's imagining. And this is not even. This is that was something very, very new that I heard. that you put a child out there and don't put her with an opponent. Just imagine there's an opponent and then react accordingly. So you're saying kids are like just going all over the place. They're taking a turn here, it's jumping here, and there's so much more a coach can get if they have that kind of skill sets and knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Ram. That's what we call as visualization.
Yeah.
It's stemmed from a little scientific research and background, where they teach you how to visualize things and see it happen before. Because generally, a human brain gets a little bit of anxiety when it's in an unfamiliar terrain.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you're walking from your house. It's a new house. You've come in for the first time, and it's a new path you're taking up, walking up to your school. The first day you're anxious, you're looking at the road, you're noticing the pole, you're noticing the shops on the way, you're taking note of everything. Yes. And you're a bit, nervous because it's the first day at school you're going in.
Yeah.
But after 6 months, you don't care what pebble was on the road or where that pole was, because it's become a part of your system. You're familiarized with it. So it keeps you calm. So now your focus is on, am I on the right side of the traffic? Am I walking? You're looking at more things which need more attention.
Which is more relevant, yeah.
Even they send them to the extent of seeing the color of the jersey the opponent is wearing, or imagining the sound of the stadium and things like that. So yes, like I said, there's lots for us to go there and come a lot of
absolutely
stuff. And this is where coaches need to be innovative, because they need to observe what their children are, because every set formula doesn't work everywhere.
True.
We use that as a big blanket or an umbrella, but for you to garner the result, you need to personalize it and watch it one-on-one.
True. You were chosen as one among the 16 emerging women leaders in sport from around the world by ESPNW. ESPNW is what? Women? Yeah. And the US Department of State, for a global sports mentorship program. I think Hillary Clinton, it was the vision of Hillary Clinton to empower women through sports, isn't it? What is all this about? This seems something very, very interesting. I mean, tell us a little about this.
Ram, if you look at us Indians culturally, compared to the West, we are still not very generous when it comes to passing on the knowledge and supporting others, or extending a hand to somebody who's coming up or treading that path up, because we are a highly populated country. There is a lot of competition for survival alone. So the concept of helping someone else is like is still not so strong, because people have had very bitter experiences. Helping someone is one thing, but also the responsibility of the person who receives it also should be somebody who ensures that they don't put any bitter experiences into the minds of those who lend a hand. Because these two go hand in hand. But unfortunately, and what happens is most of the businessmen, if you see, have their family, young boys take over their businesses. So it's only to them that they transfer the knowledge. Yeah. But how open are we as Indians to transfer our knowledge to somebody who's not related to me by blood, or who has nothing to do with me, and who will never have anything to do with me, but I'm just going to pump the knowledge because I like what they're doing, or I can see a hustle in them. I can see that some information, I just want someone else to succeed.
Yes.
That culture is yet to be imbibed as part of a norm within our society as such. Yeah. We still are not comfortable. We may be doing it in small pockets here and there, but culturally on the large basis, we are not very generous with parting our knowledge. So for most people who are treading their path, they're either doing it by themselves, or they're just learning from every other place and trying to, mix and match. Like I went and did an MBA because at that point there was no sports management courses in India. Yes. And I thought whatever they're teaching in the class, I can relate it to sport, and I kept connecting the dots there. Only later I realized that Philip Kotler, who's considered as the father of, these, in one of the books, did use a lot of examples of basketball to explain the management.
Oh, you did?
Yes, of course. So it made sense. And my dean, very nice dean, very supportive institution, used to always say, you know, Belly, we never see you in class. And I would say, sir, it's okay. Whatever you're teaching in class, I'm using it outside and out of the four walls. What was teaching me to do all of these things. I mean, so in that sense, the West has always been very open in terms of supporting others or giving this knowledge. And as you rightly said, this was a vision of Hillary Clinton, I understand, and it was initiated to the Department of State from the US. And this was supported by ESPNW, which is the women's wing of ESPN, which focuses on women's sports, and to ensure that they get more visibility and more voices be heard. And so this is a 5-week program in the US where you are paired along with a senior women executive of different established institutions who then go on to expose, support you in your action plan or your dream project, and open up a whole lot of network through their connections for you to ensure that you grow and have the support. They make you realize you're not alone. You're not fighting the battle alone.
Yeah.
So this was a very beautiful concept, initiated by them at that point. And it was an honor to be a part of this program. One of my very good friend, Aparna Poput, a badminton player, she was on one of a similar program, and she was very keen that I thought, she wanted to recommend. That's why I said women support women. So I remember when she was on this program, she called up and she said, "You need to be. This looks very tailor-made for you." And she was behind me for 2 years she kept nominating to the embassy, but I was so busy fighting these little battles here. Now I wish in hindsight that I had taken up her word earlier. So this was a selection process, I was told, done by later the embassy, where about 1,600 people apply from all over the world, and then it's shortlisted to 16, and then when you get there, you meet other women, amazing women who are equally passionate, and they're doing similar work in different sport, in different capacities in their country. Yes. And that was so beautiful to learn that, okay, one, it eases your mind that you're not the only one struggling. So there are others. And then they understand your language. So finally, it's like you found a tribe. Yeah. Because here, to speak to anybody about anything, and it's still a challenge. People don't understand what you're talking about. My own friends, after some time they disconnect because they just don't know how to connect the conversation. You don't know how to, talk about this to them because they have never experienced all these. But there you were able to connect word to word. You could connect to the emotions. You could understand. And then it expanded an opportunity to know about various cultures and various restrictions and how they're trying to overcome. Is there something that we can learn from that and emulate? Is there something I can share and give them support that they can, ensure that they are able to walk their journey as comfortably as possible? So this network was a very beautiful one. And through this, I was mentored, I was selected to be mentored at Google and Procter & Gamble, one of the 2 world's best companies. So I couldn't have asked for more. And my mentor was Julie Lieberman. She was earlier with Procter & Gamble as a marketing head for North America, and then later moved on to Google to become the global client partner. So she holds a very, very responsible and a very busy life. Wow. But I am in awe of the fact that despite of all that, and how willing, how loving, how caring they are, and how passionately involved they are in your well-being as well as your well-being of your dream and your action plan. Something that I never got or I never received here from the working points. As I never had a woman mentor, I never had anyone to look up to, anyone to tell me. There was no blueprint, so everything was something that I had to do on my own, trial and error, innovation, experiment. That. And then you kind of become very rugged when you're walking through that. And suddenly when you have a group of women like this come up and support and open up so many doors and channels for you, I think it was a blessing. It was a great thing, which I know, and Aparna and I keep talking about it as well. But sometime we would want to pass this experience on to other Indian kids as well, because we know there are going to be many kids out there like us who will be looking out for that kind of hand, that kind of saying, you know what, hey, go there, I have your back.
Yes,
Because
you should. You
sometimes
should.
when somebody has your back, just
Yeah.
knowing somebody is there for you is in
Yeah.
itself sufficient for you to propel further. But yeah, so that you're covered. So this program was very, very beautiful, because we not only got to be part of the organizations, but learn about how they are functioning, what do they do, how do they structure themselves, and see how we can take. I mean, I particularly got exposed to these two, but they were kind enough to open me up even to NBA and WNBA, where I got to meet a lot of coaches, be part of their training programs, and other mentors, because NBA and WNBA were both participant in this program as well. There are many other sports organizations, the Golf Association or the Women's Sports Foundation in New York. So that way, there are many organizations that have become a part of the mentoring organizations in this program. And so it's just not, you're not limited to Google or PNG alone. But if you need something, you're open to, even though you're assigned with one mentor and, one mentoring organization, you still have access to every other organization, and every other mentor is equally beautiful, and they're all welcoming. And something, I've been part of a few other programs to see, but this program, the people who run it, the Center for Sports Peace and Society at the University of Tennessee, they've made it so personal. And I have never seen the connection they've kept with the alumni so strong. That knowledge sharing, opportunity sharing, network sharing, and they continue to fund you for your programs. And they do cross funding for encourage you for cross program active participations as well, and they support you for that. And so their vision is truly global, and it's so that in that sense, yes, it's a beautiful experience to receive that. And I wish we in India, and more mentors in India, and more people on top, whoever are sitting in responsible positions, open their hearts and open their doors to sharing knowledge and experience. We would like to encourage in future. Hopefully, we should be able to do it at some point.
I'm sure you should. You should. I mean, you should. These are not opportunities which one gets on a regular basis, especially, and it just opens up one's perspective, isn't it? When you're on a global stage with the highest achievers. The last final couple of questions to you. You are a very articulate person. I mean, you've spoken at TEDx events. You have spoken at institutions like the IIM and a lot of other sports conclaves. You obviously your academics. You said you did your MBA and also you played sport. What's your take on this, academics and sport? I'm asking this question because this is something which a lot of parents these days have. In terms of, if my child pursues sport, academics is going to be compromised and stuff. How does a child manage with this? And also, can a child be good in academics and pursue sport? Is it possible?
Ram, to be honest, you probably wouldn't believe it if I tell you I used to be a very shy person. To some extent, I still am. So speaking in public or speaking outside was not something that I would have voluntarily chosen. So now look what sports did. It just gave you a the only reason I'm at these places to speak is because my mother, initially when I got a lot of invitations, I was not too keen because, I just like to do this stuff. I don't like to be there talking much, but she told me something which actually changed my perception. She said, if you want the children to be motivated, if you want people to know, realize, unless you communicate the passion, unless you communicate what's in your heart, how will they know? Which is true, which I realized that if I don't communicate this, then how will they know what's the right way to do? She's saying communication is such a strong tool to make that change. So if you're not going to use that, then how are you going to communicate this passion to them and translate it? So that's when I realized, yes, I opened myself to, speaking, because I really wanted to make sure that the kids hear what needs to be heard, and the right people in the right place hear what they need to hear as well. So that's how speaking up came in. And then yes, education and is important. It's very important, whether you are in any country or not just in our place. I would personally say education is important for both levels, from both perspectives. Is that if you have to understand one thing, as an athlete, we have a very short shelf life. You're not going to be in your prime or performing all your life. So even if at your best you may be up to your 35, okay, let's say 40.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do for the rest of the 40 years?
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two, having too much of only sport and no education is not good. Only education and no sport, also not good.
Right.
You need to have a balance. That is why both of them are part of the education system. The only thing is, unfortunately, math, science, physics, chemistry, these were the ones who were given more importance. And the sports was, the time was only one period or just 1 hour in 2 hours in a week or so. So it was never given that there was not a balance. Because see, naturally as children, kids and as humans, we are meant to have fun. Nobody goes out there, plays and says, I don't want to play.
Yes.
I mean, it's a factor of fun. But you give them a choice. Do you want to sit and study or do you want to play? They would still take play.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
it's fun. It's natural. That's how we're wired. So it's part of our system. So driving us of something that is part of us is an incomplete growth.
Yes.
It's not a full complete growth. But at the same time, you have to understand that academics is for the mind and the sport is for the body. Yeah. The mind and the body are both together. They have to go hand in hand.
Yes.
So which is why one must give importance to academics and take a balance. And it requires what sport has taught me as well. If you see, at one time you asked me in my earlier question, how did you play all the three sports? It taught me time management. That's how I was able to go. I mean, if you saw like when I left for practice, it had a basketball shoes, it had a basketball, a jersey, it had my gloves for baseball, it had my studs and slugger for baseball, and it had the cricket pads and bats and gloves for cricket. So the bag used to be so huge. So I would leave in the morning for basketball, then midday go for baseball training, finish my class studies, and then after college go to the cricket field to do the training. So it very early on, it taught me time management, structuring myself. How can I still achieve all these three and my academics? Yeah. It was difficult because, when you come back in class, you're seeing stars because the teacher's already passed to the 10th or 9th chapter and you have no clue what's happening. But I was again fortunate because the institutions I studied in, they opened up their libraries, their books, the teachers volunteered and taught us all the classes that we missed out. So I was able to catch that up. But somewhere we also have to show that interest. Yes. To make sure that balance, because you have to be futuristic. You have to know, even as a 12-year, 13-year-old, when I was taking this up, I was very keen. I will never negotiate with academics because I know at some point I will need it in the future. Yeah, and it gives you your confidence. Imagine, even if you play sport, you become a great star, and then you're in the limelight, you're enjoying, you've earned money, but there has to be a phase that it's going to come down. Yeah, and then it's not that not necessarily for everyone, but generally, it brings down the confidence level. Yes. If you have your academic background, you're still open to grow yourself in a different life. So I always say athletes have two lives, one after 40 and after 40. Yes. So we have different ways. So you've seen the best part of two lives. Yes. Whereas others have just one life. They just study and start working and they kick the bucket and go. But here you're seeing different, you have one lifestyle and then everything changes. So while you're pursuing one, you're subtly preparing for the second phase of your life. Yes. That is what academics is.
It reminds me of, a quote that I once read about Vivian Richards, the cricketer. So I believe when Sachin Tendulkar was contemplating retirement somewhere in 2007 or 8, so he met Richards once and asked, and just told him that maybe I'm going to retire. So I believe Richards told him, look, son, you're going to be retired a long time, so please take your time. So, yeah, like you said, I mean, post 40, then what you've done other than sport also matters, isn't it?
Because the academics in the sense that they have to grow up with understanding that they will be in a position to put themselves in a more respectable state after in fact Australia, I remember, has a very nice program. In fact, they have a company which overlooks this. We're
Uh-huh.
yet to reach. There's a company that looks for professional athletes, how to manage them post-retirement, how to
Really?
plan. Oh yes, they do, in terms of
Mhm.
your mental status. Because at one time everybody wants your autograph, everybody wants to know
Yes.
who you are and take
Yeah.
photographs and stuff. And then suddenly comes the
When
time.
the lights
I mean,
go
we're all
off.
human. We're made of emotions. I mean, how much of people may say
Yes.
anything on the outside? You are going to feel those emotions, aren't you? And so there has to help them make that transition and to get on to the second phase. They help them prepare right from the beginning itself to both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in whatever ways they're prepared. So this is why it's important for youngsters to know that you don't have to get 90s or get a rank.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't, and like my favorite person, Dr. Abdul Kalam, always said, don't go try to get the education for the sake of marks,
Yes,
but to acquire that knowledge, know that aspect.
correct.
Then it becomes fun. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
becomes difficult.
absolutely.
I'm not an exception either. There are many of my contemporaries and my predecessors, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them after us, the youngsters especially, they are keeping a very good balance between academics and
Yes.
sporting career. Though it's difficult, but they're
Yeah.
managing. But if you look at NCAA or any other such structures for the youth in the in US, they have professionals to take care of all these aspects for them. There are professionals who are responsible for their diet, for the physiotherapy, for their coaching, for their academics and stuff like that. There's somebody else taking care of
Taking care of that.
But
Yeah.
here in India, we have to do it everything by ourselves.
Yes, yes,
But it's okay. I mean, it's made us very competent. I mean, it would be nice that if that responsibility was taken off our shoulders and we could focus only on the sport.
true.
But
But that's
in
not
some
there.
way, it will come, it will reach there, but
Yeah.
in many, many, many decades after culture and culture has changed. Yeah.
Good. Wonderful talking, Pavitra. We are finally coming to the last. I'm going to club this last question for you. So I want you to identify three specific areas which, according to you, needs to be addressed immediately. In terms of how to make sports a priority. For children, especially girls. And secondly, finally, what would you like to be doing in the future? And where do you think our country is going to be with regards to sports and athletics, whatever, over the next 10 years, 15 years?
Well, this immediate specific areas that I think need to probably change is, we as a country need to adopt and change the culture. Unless and until we change the setup, the culture, the approach, the lifestyle, it will be very difficult for us to attain excellence in sports and have a longevity and also see young girls excelling in it. So first we need to develop a culture of sports, where just the way we have a culture for, like you see how the football crazy nations, the Europe is fully, it's a culture of football. Right?
Yes,
So
yes.
very similar to that, if you really look at it in that sense, if you're able to develop that kind of a culture where, of course, we have cricket in substitute,
Yeah.
but if we are able to have that in general for all sport, that
Yeah.
culture is just not having organized professional players playing, but also having a good, matured audience to consume it as well. A quick reference I'll give you here is, during the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, I remember as part as the official for the Paralympic, and the event in the Aquatic Center was taking place. Now, generally what happens when we Indians, we sit and watch, we always tend to cheer the ones winning,
Yeah.
If you come first rank, fine. If you come 8th rank, they don't even say, okay, good, well done. No.
Yes.
It's like, what? You came 8th?
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah.
don't even acknowledge your existence at all. That culture of appreciation from the spectators, from the parents, from the coaches, from the entire system should, if it changes, then the culture it gives to a very positive movement of this culture. I remember when the athletes were swimming, the one who came first finished the lap of the 50 meter and was back in her position. And most of them were just about maybe one or two laps behind her. But there was this one athlete who was still swimming and still going to the end. Now, had it been an Indian audience, we would have just walked to the stadium, gone for a washroom break or gone for a coffee break and come back. But what I noticed, and it took me by great surprise, was the entire stadium stood up and kept clapping till that kid finished all the way.
Oh, so wonderful.
That is culture.
Yeah. Yes.
That is what our audience and spectators need to imbibe within themselves and realize when that mindset comes in, that
absolutely
you could have stopped there. You could have stopped at 25 meters, but you swam back and you finished what you started. And I applaud you for that. That can make a huge difference. So that kind of mindset and culture is an immediate requirement for...
That's definitely lacking here.
Yes. Need to get that, and of course from the infrastructure and structure, both are missing for us. We can get the right people to do the right job and have the professionals who are accountable for it. I don't see why we should be holding ourselves back. We've started it. The 2010 Commonwealth Games, though, made a lot of bad news. They came to use the wrong reasons, but it still educated people and opened their eyes to what the Commonwealth Games are, what the world stage sports are, because they saw it. Like I told you, Indians are emotional. They like to see things. Even online purchases that we still like to go touch the cloth and try, we want to see what we are taking, buying. So in that sense, only I feel a great shift happened with the 2010 Commonwealth Games, where people started respecting athletes a little more, what goes into it, because they were able to see it, they were able to view it. So which brings us back that we need to host a lot more tournaments. Because even if you don't have tournaments, then what are the kids? I mean, there needs to be something for the kids to be excited about and look forward to.
Correct.
And this needs to be done strongly in youth programs at youth level. I know the Indian government has really started up with the youth games, which is going in the right direction. But if that can be emulated in state, every district, every panchayat gram, and every village that comes under it, if we're able to take it there, and within the urban as well, if we're able to make this as a strong youth program, then and probably bring in some policy like the Title IX, what did to the US women. I think if we bring something similar to that here, we can ensure that women are by default into it more. So the participation of girls is more, because sometimes you have to give a little more, not that we don't like the boys or we don't like the men or we're against it or something. It's just that somebody who's got less needs to be brought and down to create that balance. So that's all about it. And your second question,
what role would you like to be playing?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't think too much about the future. I like to, as much as I like to see it, but I like to see and address things that are happening right now. See, the pandemic was a big lesson for all of us. Everybody's planning, but future, nothing else in store for you. So that was a big lesson for all of us.
Planning too far ahead is probably not the best way to go.
We became, we as a country or people or society became more about numbers, about targets, about number of likes and what's my popularity on social media. We're all, everyone's more focused on that. But however, I mean, though I wasn't, but sometimes you do get, caught up in it. But it was a wake up. So that's why I don't think about it too much in the future. But I do plan that, I would love to be in every role that requires.
You should.
Requires me to be in to be the change. And yes, I don't. What we're going to be in the next in the future will all depend on what we're going to do right now.
Yes.
What we are investing right now. What changes are we bringing within our policy, within our mindset, within our culture, within our ecosystem? And for the next generation to enjoy the sport, what we're doing right now professionally, we see the result maybe a decade or even much later. It's not something that, like I told you, Title IX took 50 years to see the change, so it's not something that's going to happen overnight.
Absolutely.
But definitely, yes, the kids I feel we are, as a country, are heading in a fairly good direction, because if you see the sports management courses that have opened up, the sports management institutions that have opened up, the companies that are sprouting up, the startups that are coming, the academies that are mushrooming everywhere, I mean, only speaks about the shift we are already embracing towards it.
Yes.
If we maintain that momentum, and if we continue our participation from every stakeholder, parents, coaches, government, federations, facilitators, organizations, academies, even the sports equipment infrastructure and sports science. Very, very important, because the day we become self-sufficient, manufacturing our own equipments and being innovative with our own science, then we can put our collars up and say, yes, we have arrived. But until then, we have to keep walking this journey.
Wonderful, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Pavitra. This conversation has gone way beyond what we thought it's going to take for us. But then, I mean, the topic that we're talking is such. I mean, we cannot put it in in a box and try to delve into all these subjects that we spoke over the course of this conversation.
Right.
But speaking to you is such a wonderful pleasure all the time, because you have so much to offer. You have really so much to offer. I mean, really, I'm not just saying because you're there on this video right now. Even otherwise, you should be involving more. I mean, people like you should be involving more in terms of development of sports for children, because there has to be the right mentors, the right guides, isn't it? We spoke about that, and I really sincerely hope that you have a larger role to play going ahead in the future. Thank you so much, and all the best for the future. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this, and thank you.